An awakening doesn't usually happen all at once. At least that's not what I've observed or experienced. You may have the feeling that it's a sudden awakening and that from one day to the other, everything feels very different. You're still the same person, it's still living in the same place, in the same world, but for some reason, everything feels sharper and somehow more real. But then after that, here comes the layers thing. And so for most people, it seems to unfold in layers. Almost like life is gently peeling away everything we've been conditioned to believe about ourselves, others, and reality. I would say that at first, awakening looks like questioning. Questioning everything we've been taught about how to live. Questioning our habits, questioning our beliefs, questioning our definitions of success, happiness, questioning our lifestyles, questioning our way of thinking, questioning what we've been thinking about our own selves, questioning what and who we are, questioning everything, basically. And then another layer is exploration. We start reading books we would have never picked up before. We start discovering new perspectives on things, having conversations we would have never had about life, discovering new ways of thinking. For some people, one layer becomes the body. They start exploring different foods, different ways of eating, different diets, different things that make you feel more alive, more vibrant. So you might suddenly become vegetarian and explore that for a little bit, and then you become vegan, and then you start following a keto diet. You are exploring and experimenting with your body and foods to understand what better suits you. You might start learning about Ayurveda, for instance. That's what happened in my case. It just came into my life at a certain moment on my awakening journey, and it just helped me so much in terms of understanding the human body, the human mind, and starting my journey of making peace with my body and with food and with eating and with my emotions and all that. So that can be a layer. The layer of body exploration and food exploration. And then you might start exploring different healing techniques, breath work, somatic release, energy work, Reiki. You might start yoga teacher training. You might explore Tai Chi, Qigong, all that energy world that will allow you to better understand what the life force that is within us is and how it operates. Anything that helps you understand yourself more deeply. And then there might be a phase where awakening touches your lifestyle itself, relationships, work, environments, the people we choose to spend our time with, the way we want to live, the way we spend our time, the values we want to live by, everything that connects to the way you now want to create a new reality for yourself. And what's funny is that we often become very identified with each stage, with each layer. So when you are in your food layer, you are so obsessed with your new diet, and you might try to convince everyone, yes, you have to go vegan, this is the best thing ever. And it might be your reality at that point in time, but know that maybe in 6 months' time, you'll be convinced that keto is the best and that you need protein and that you need to have that steak. And in that moment, it will feel also very real and very true for you. And so for a moment, the diet becomes the answer, and then the healing modality becomes the answer, and then the way of living becomes the answer. And then at some point, it's all at once. Like once you've started exploring all these different things, then you combine them all together. They come together like pieces of a puzzle, and that is your new reality. Then eventually, something happens. We start seeing that awakening and being liberated was never about the diet, was never about eating meat or no meat, was never about the healing practices or the lifestyle, living in the woods or living in a house. We realized it was never about that. And we realized that it was about becoming conscious and remembering who we are underneath all those layers, beneath the identities, beneath the conditioning, underneath all the fears. And then eventually something beautiful happens. We start integrating all of this. And maybe one of the most beautiful stages of awakening is when we stop trying to become something else. And when we start returning to being human, authentic, real, alive. Having said that, I truly believe that we somehow need to go through those stages. I don't think we can say to someone, just be. That is the secret. Just be human, just be yourself. Somehow, an awakening happens in stages, and those stages are necessary for the human being to realize it doesn't need to try to be someone else. But you can't force the stages. The person will realize that after they've explored different techniques, after they've explored those different diets, after they've explored those different lifestyles and made their own choices and realizations about them. You can point a finger into a simpler way of doing things and realizing things, but I do believe that we all have to walk our own path. And as much as sometimes we want to help people see things more clearly or faster, I don't think you can rush or take corners in terms of your awakening journey. Everyone has to go through their different stages and layers and understandings and making their own realizations in their own time. And it also all happens that way for a reason. And if we wanted to summarize anyway an awakening journey, we could say that maybe it's a journey of remembering what remains when everything unnecessary falls away. And eventually you might just go back to eating croissants and cheese.